we received the calling, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of people have that calling on them, but they don't see it yet because of the way the world around them is.
We're going to call them out.
Yeah.
There's warriors out there that are not warring.
Uh-huh.
We're in war, whether you want to admit it or not, because there's an enemy that wants to put men down, keep them down, not have them become the leaders that God's called them to be.
What's up, y'all? I'm Ben Marten, your Everyday Warrior co-host. Rich and I just want to say thank you for tuning into today's episode. Hey, and if you appreciate this content, do me a favor. You could like it, you could share it, you could comment, and please send a review to help us spread the word of the Warrior Way. You know what? Better yet, I got a friend named Natalie. She said, why don't you share this video with your friends, your kids, your brothers, your fathers, even your dog, and tell them why they should watch it. It's a great video. Do us a big favor. If you want to help us spread this amazing message, go to the website. It's at the link at the bottom in the description. Hey, I got an idea. Hey, Rich, where you at? Let's get after it.
Hey, super excited. I'm on my way to see one of my best friends in all of the world. We're gonna have one of the most greatest discussions you've heard ever.
Coach!
Ben, good to see you, buddy.
Let's do it. Welcome.
Man, welcome me into your house, into your
Worldly
life.
famous Mort's Bar and Grill, buddy.
This is a classic, isn't it?
Burgers and beers since 1980, baby.
Yeah.
Woohoo! What's up?
Well, come on in, man. I can't wait to discuss with you. We're so excited. And
And just so I want you to know, this is the first time I get to introduce some pastor's gonna belly up. Belly up to the bar, buddy. There we go. That's right. That's right.
yeah. So I want to introduce a little bit of what we're doing, man.
Yeah,
this
please,
is so
please.
classic, right? You and I have known each other for
Oh yeah.
about 5 or 6 years now.
5 or 6. Well, 2018. I met you when I was saved in that pew at Crossroads Community Church.
That's quite a story, and we're going to hear more about that. But we've partnered up with something that we're super excited about, and it's called Warrior Way, and you'll see the 5 points. We believe more than anything else that we've been called to help men live up to their fullest potential. And we've discovered something. We've discovered that there is everyday warriors out there that no one's ever heard about. They don't play professional basketball, or they're maybe not an influencer, but they are phenomenal. So we thought about we're gonna interview all of these different warriors, man.
Yeah. This idea came out so strong.
We're co-hosts, and we're partnering in this, and we do conferences, and there's other things we'll talk about. But I thought it would be cool, all right, if you were the first person. You are the #1 everyday warrior when it comes to Warrior Way. And we wanted to interview you. We wanted to hear your story. I want to hear the incredible things that God's done in your life.
Oh man.
And the things that he's continuing to do. So you
Wow,
are
I get to be the first everyday warrior. All right. Well, where do you want to start? How awesome I am, or?
I want to start right here,
All
because
right.
we're in this bar where you basically grew up. So give us a little history.
Well, I was born in 1984. My dad bought the bar in 1984, and one of the coolest things about me and my brothers and my sisters, we grew up our entire lives getting to say, I should say, that we grew up in a bar, and our dad was a bookie. Okay, so for all you people out there that don't know what a bookie is, before technology and the thing that lovely Natalie is filming us on right now was available, for somebody to make a bet, they didn't call FanDuel, they didn't call ESPN Bet, they called Mort's Bar and Grill and asked Mort, hey Mort, can I get 400 on the Bears at -3 against Minnesota on Sunday at noon? And that's what a bookie was. So my dad essentially bought this place. It was busy back then, but he really bought it as a place that he could take care of his customers, fully, completely illegal, obviously. He was pinched a number of times, which means he got arrested and got taken care of. But it's a small town. Who's really getting hurt, right? Besides the degenerate gamblers spending their paychecks every Friday and Saturday and Sunday down here on college football and regular and NFL. But yeah, so like when I grew up here.
And this is where you spent a lot of time here.
Oh, like I grew up here. Yeah, I was telling
I can't imagine some of the conversations that
man. I was telling Nathan and Natalie, I could pour a perfect beer. There used to be 2 tappers right here back before my little brother took it over. I could pour a perfect ice cold Budweiser with just the right amount of foam at the top of that 12-ounce mug when I was 12 years old.
So here's how I know you, Ben. I know you as a great family man, the beautiful wife, beautiful little daughter. You're fully committed to your family. You're fully committed to your faith. You're a man of faith. And all I see is this, but it wasn't always like that.
No, not even close. Not even close. Man, if I could explain to you how crazy the journey is, for me, everybody's got a crazy journey, right? But I mean, I don't know how far you want to dive into it. I mean, I was telling you stories the other day about how.
Let me ask you this. Growing up in a bar, how did that affect you? How did it affect you in terms of your lifestyle? What choices did you make that maybe weren't the best?
Okay.
And I'm not going to put the blame on anybody
Oh.
or anything like that, but it certainly must have had an effect.
I think there's a connection between blame and opportunity, right? You know what I mean? Opportunity for me when I was a kid would be different than opportunity for you
Right.
when you were a kid, right? Growing up in your house with your mom
Right.
was different than growing up in my house with my mom and my dad. You know, the first time my dad caught me with beer, or I can't remember who it was, beer, liquor, a teacher called me, something like that. You know, the first time he found it in my car, my mom found it in my car, you know what my dad's response was? Let me first of all, if your dad was around when you were 15 or 14 and you got caught with a case of Budweiser, or it wasn't Budweiser, it was Old Milwaukee Light because we couldn't afford Budweiser. What would your dad have done?
Oh, it would have never happened.
Okay.
All right. But if he would have known some of the choices I made when I was 18, he would have killed me.
Okay. All right.
But no, he wouldn't have had a chance. My mom would have.
Your mom would kill us.
My mom would.
So you know what my dad said? Why the hell didn't you buy the beer for me? I got a cooler full of beer back there. I just would have given it to you. You're risking getting in trouble going to Sportsman's down there across the corner just to walk out with a case of Old Milwaukee Light. But so, like, think about it. When you're growing up in that was normal for me.
Yeah.
Whereas where you, it was completely a different normal, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that God wasn't with me the whole time he was there. He was there with me. There were little things, like, even though that I could sit there and I grew up in a bar and I had idols like Stan Steiner, who drank 44 cocktails in one day, or Chet
Pictures on the wall.
Pictures on the wall, or Chet the Jet that we call him. He worked at Grayling's down there. He weighed 85 pounds soaking wet, and he would be sitting outside the door every single morning at 5:30 waiting for my dad to walk in so he could get his fix in before he went to work outside. Or like a guy named Goalie. He was a guy, he worked at Honeywell. And this is back when Freeport had 3 factories downtown. So this bar was busy during the day, you know? So Goalie would sit outside at 6 o'clock because he had to be to work at 7.
Yeah.
He would come in and he would drink shakes, right?
Yeah.
Mort would pour him a glass of vodka with ice. He had to put a straw in it because he couldn't pick up the vodka because he would have spilled it all. He had 2 of those. He had 2 of those before he went to work, come back on his break, had 1, came back at lunch, had 2 more, came back on his break, had 2 more, came back after work and drank a bottle. And that was normal for me, right? So that's when we think about my life and where we're gonna go with it, that's where it formed out of. You know what I mean?
Normal.
Yeah.
It was normal. And you know what? Just a little bit about us so that you know, I'm 68 years old. I grew up in a Christian home, in a Christian family. My dad died when I was young, but that was so abnormal for me. And normal for me was a lot of stuff that was just, it's not even worth telling. But for you, you grew up in this environment. But, one of the things I've learned, and you talk about this, is how, no matter what our background is, okay? I grew up in a Christian home. So what? You didn't. Is that important? Yeah, it is. But ultimately, God has a plan for everybody's life. And people need to know about you because, see, we do this together because I'm the old guy and you're the young guy.
Old band of the millennium.
Right here. But this guy is an actor. An actor. I think being in here had to help your ability to act.
It formed my whole identity. Are you kidding me? I have an ability, which is cool. I like to tell people I have this innate ability to talk to anybody. I was a kid. I was 6 years old. I had friends that were my age, and I had friends that were 90 because of this bar. And they all talked to me. When you grow up in a bar, people don't talk to you different. There's no coddling you in a bar. The language I knew when I was in 6 and 7 years old, I knew how adults in this world talked, right? And that was normal. I'm going to say that again. That was normal. I know it's the 4th time I've said that because my mom said it one time after my mom was saved. We were talking about the bar and somebody mentioned something about drinking or something like that. And she said, Ben, that bar still supplied for us.
Yeah.
We were a family with 6 kids in a little cracker box house.
That's
This
what you
bar
make a
supply,
living.
that's how we made a living, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of times people can put down on, but it's normal for people is different in different situations, right?
It was.
And that's why the warrior that I am,
Yeah.
and we'll get to that later, like, I love knowing that God chose me and who I am to make an impact with the people that he's going to put me in front of. Because I'm different than you, right?
That's why we're filming this in Morton.
Bingo. We're going to, yeah.
We want people from all walks of life
Mm-hmm.
to take this journey with
Yeah.
us.
So,
And I want you to,
yeah.
I want you to talk just a little bit before we get into the transformation. You had some challenging seasons in your life. You were talking about it earlier today. And so you went down a path that could have been destructive.
Oh, yeah.
You avoided that, but tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I was like that. Well, as you said, I'm an actor. So, I'm an actor in TVs, movies. Google me, watch some of my stuff. The actors never have a real job, right? Our actors are always unemployed. So, what do we do when we're not acting to make money? I found a way. We called it pharmaceutical sales, not necessarily legal pharmaceutical sales. And I found a way to make enough money to cover for the habits that I had, but also cover for the expenses that we needed, right?
Sure.
So, and then as I got older, I'm still acting, but I'm also just realizing I don't really have to get into these different spots to be able to, I don't have to go get a real job because I never thought once you do it for that long, you don't really think of it as illegal, dealing drugs, you know what I mean? And you're just helping people out. But it did lead me down a bad path. I had friends back when I was growing up. I got into some harder drugs, cocaine, and I sold a lot of weed. I sold some cocaine here instead on the side. And what's weird, I told you this earlier, and I know there's a lot of people out there that'll relate to this. I can remember times when it's 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm watching the sunrise and I'm smoking as much weed as I possibly can to try and get my heart to stop beating out of my chest because of all the cocaine that I put in my face. I remember buddies that we would whip out baseball-sized balls of coke, put it on the table, and we're all just passing it around because, you know what? That's what we did. But, God, now that I see it, there's not a second that God wasn't with me, protecting me, because it's those other guys that there's a lot of them that stayed on that path and they didn't crawl out of it the same way I did. Still a side note. So here's a cool thing. So I'm gonna mention my dad. My dad's an everyday warrior. He grew up, he never graduated high school. His mom died when he was, it's like kind of the same situation as you with your dad, died when he was 6. He went to a Catholic school and the priest told him that God needed to take his mom. And that's the only thing the priest said to him after his mom died. So he walked as far away from anything God or Christ related to this. So I grew up thinking Christ was a bad dude. Okay, so that's
And that God punished.
and that God punishes, right? And so he never graduated high school. He got into bad stuff. He got into drugs. He started booking and running numbers back in the day. And running numbers means you're running drugs and you're taking bets. You're picking up money for other bookies and stuff like that in town before my dad became a bookie on his own. And one day, my dad showed up to the guy he was running numbers for, and he said, "I got a package for you. I want you to deliver this. You deliver this, we'll be in a whole different world. We'll be making so much money you won't even know it." And my dad asked me, he says, "Well, what is it?" And so we looked at it. It was a solid like a kilo of cocaine, right? And my dad he just married my mom. He had a daughter from his first marriage, and a son from my mom's first marriage, and my mom was pregnant with my sister Jilly. And he had this decision to make. At that moment, he said, "I got this baby at home. I got 2 kids at home. If I do this, this is my dad making this decision way before I even had the choice to make the wrong decision, right?" And he made the decision not do that. He gave it back to the guy, left. This is a cool story. He left. He goes up to the guy he was supposed to deliver the drugs to, and the guy wanted to put in a $10,000 bet. My dad's sitting there, no money to his name, got a kid on the way, 2 kids at home, and a wife who's in nursing school. And he said, "This is the day I'm going to do it." Instead of turning that bet in, he took it himself without having anything to back it up. Won the bet, put that $10,000 in his pocket, and that's how started his booking business. And then that's long story short, that's how it all came out of there.
Wow. So
It's just
you've had this background. There's other people out there with this type of backgrounds, but you've had a unique background that God has positioned you and set you up for something. Now, let's talk a little bit about the transformation.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit here, because I remember the day you got baptized. You came up out of that water yelling, and I'm like, who is this guy?
fire,
Yeah.
baby. Fire.
You were something changed your life, and you'd been to church before in different situations. What was so different about what you heard back in the day? And I think you're going to
I
say
mean, from
grace.
religiosity. You're
yeah.
my favorite term that I use. That I always gotta give you the credit. You know, CC, Rich Clay Ministries.
Why? What made the difference? What about grace just did you in?
Well, when you're growing up the whole time, and my mom, like, well, my grandma, you know, they go to like Lutheran, right? And I still don't really know what any of it is, Lutheran, Catholic. I just know it's not that, right? I know it. So the whole time, religion never made a sense to me, because the people that went to church, the Catholic people that ate spinach lasagna on Friday during Lent and couldn't tell me why. You right? The people that go to church every single Sunday and sing the hymns, and I would ask them, why? Why do you go to church? And you try and ask somebody that's your own age, well, why do you go to church? And you know what the answer always came back was? Because I'm supposed to, right?
Tradition. My parents went here.
It never made any sense to me, and I'm a logical guy. Like, why would you do that if it doesn't make any sense, right? And that's when, like, my wife wanted to start going back to church after we had our daughter. And she bounced around. She went to Rockford first. She went to, I think she went to Park Hills a couple times. She landed on Crossroads and found this dude up there speaking the message of grace. And she's coming home saying all this stuff. Like, wow, this is nuts. My daughter's coming home. She's 3, talking about Bible. Bob's the coolest dude in the world. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but keep it as far away from me as humanly possible. She would play Christian music.
You didn't want anything.
I want nothing to do with it. I said, you're gonna play Christian music. It's got to be in the other room, and I don't want it in any room that I'm sitting in. Okay, like that's seriously what it was. But one day, I'm sitting there in my kitchen, and Sarah's playing Yahweh Ren Collective in the other room, and it hit the chorus, the main part of it, the Yahweh breathing you in, and I felt this punch, boom, in the back of my head, and I hit the ground. And I'm hearing all this battle, right? This battle going on in my head, and it's like, and it's loud, and it's crazy, and it's just this nutty craziness. I start bawling my eyes out, and all of a sudden, I heard this voice so crystal clear as I'm talking to you right now, because I want you to know this. This is real, okay? Crystal clear. I hear this voice say, "Ben, just give in." And I open up my eyes. And the world was different. So like everything, the air tasted different. You know what I mean? The lights were different. The colors were brighter. It was the most wild thing you could ever possibly imagine in your entire life. So I walked out into my living room, and I looked at Sarah. I said, "When are we going to church?" And I didn't know why I was saying it, because I said, "When are we going to church?" And she said, and I said, "I think God just talked to me." And I still didn't know. I didn't know for sure.
Right.
But then I came and saw you, and that first message was on TV. And I'm like, and Sarah's sitting there going, "First message he ever goes to, he's on TV. He's never gonna want to come back." He's gonna think this place is
It was
weird.
on the big
It
screen.
was on the big
We
screen.
videoed.
The big screen, right?
Yeah, okay.
But I was loving it. I was eating it up, and I was like, "You're talking about stuff that I've never heard before. There's a reason to go to church. There's a reason to seek out God. It's because He loves you, and He wants a relationship with you. He wants to be personal with you. You know what I mean? Like my relationship with God's going to be different than your relationship. It's going to be different than Natalie's. It's going to be different than Nathan. Different than JJ, because that's how big He is. He can have love for me that's different than love for you. And ever since then, that's why you saw me when I bursted out of that water. And that baptism, that fire is real, because when you let Him in, He gives you just as much as you can handle. And over these last 6 years, He's been preparing us, I know, He's been preparing us both, because there is no way in this world, podcast universe out there, that Rich Clay and Ben Marten would ever be doing a podcast at Mort's Bar and Grill.
The guy who grew up in the bar with the guy who grew up in church 5 times a week.
The craziest story, my little brother sponsored, Mort's Bar and Grill put a sponsor on the back of Tri-County Christian School's school shirt this year. I walked in and gave him the check for $100, and I'm like, I'll set it down. I was like, I want to make sure the building's not going to burn down quick, because this is pretty strange here. Mort's is sponsoring a Christian school. Can I tell one more quick story? One more.
First, I'm gonna.
Because there's a thing we called Sunday school. I gotta get.
Well, that's where I was headed. We're thinking. So I want you to get the picture of this. Here's this guy, grew up in a bar, probably never went to church much. When he didn't understand a thing he was hearing. Did this thing, but he had a daughter, right?
Oh man.
And the mom said she's going to church. You had this literal heavenly experience with music. So this guy, I want to fast forward. So now, what, for about 4 or 5 years, you've heard of Sunday school. We have Kids Link. This guy's a Sunday school teacher.
Who would have thought?
The son of a bookie. Grew up in a bar. Experimented with all this kind of, and he's teaching Sunday school to kids. And you fell in love with kids for that time.
Living by, that's the thing too. You get to be, as a warrior, an everyday warrior. You don't have to Bible thump, right? I always tell people that. You don't have to Bible thump somebody, right? Be an example and let them come to you with the question. So the coolest thing is, I found out how crazy it is how kids can bring adults to the Lord just as easy as
childlike faith, right?
Childlike faith. And that's honestly, that's how that's how I got there. If it wasn't for Crossroads, if it wasn't for Ionia Dunson and Lane Smith and who was the guy, Joey back in the day, pouring into my daughter, like, she's the one that let Jesus into my house. I would never let my wife bring Jesus into the house, but if my Vivian walks in talking to me about Jesus, tell me all about it, right?
Right.
You're never gonna say no to your daughter.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. So why is this guy an everyday warrior? Because of all the things that he went through, all the things that he experienced, he chose not to stay at a level that would probably it would have killed me. It would have killed you.
Yeah.
And now you have a mission.
I do.
And that mission is to see other men who haven't yet really experienced what you've experienced, which is really salvation through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And having all your sins, past, present, and future, forgiven, receiving grace, knowing that you're not punished, you're not condemned.
And you don't have to do it alone. And that's what we're gonna do with this everyday warrior.
Yes.
We're gonna go find these other everyday warriors, and we are gonna give you those stories of inspiration, but not only inspiration, of how God worked with them to bring them to the moment where they are, where they can tell everybody they're an everyday warrior. Because it's not even the people that are strong, like this, we received the calling, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of people have that calling on them, but they don't see it yet because of the way the world around them is.
We're going to call them out.
Yeah,
There's warriors out there that are not warring, and we're going to call them to war.
Get ready to be offended.
We're in war, whether you want to admit it or not, because there's an enemy that wants to put men down, keep them down, not have them become the leaders that God's called them to be. They're not operating with the anointing to be a husband, a dad, a father, a leader in the church, a leader in the community. And what we do, here's the WW, 5 points. There's 5 things that we teach in our conferences. There's 5 things we'll bring out in the podcast. Number 1, courage. Do you have, are you living out of courage or are you living out of fear? We talk about leadership.
yeah.
Ben does the teaching, the 7 principles of leadership that Joshua used to take these wandering people into their promise, because a lot of men are wandering.
Oh man,
They don't know their purpose.
they don't know that they're leaders either.
They don't know their
They don't know they're leaders. There's so many opportunities that every single man has every day in their spiritual lives, their physical lives, their careers,
Yeah.
their family lives. They're not in what I call, they're not in spiritual shape, right?
Right.
That's what this conference will do. It'll
Yeah.
get you into spiritual shape to be that leader that you've been called to be. That's in there. It's already in there, right?
They've abdicated their leadership.
Absolutely.
And we talk about perseverance, because a warrior has to persevere. It has to go through,
Oh, man.
we've been looking a lot and studying and having fun with Navy SEAL training and what that takes, and the importance of having perseverance. And then we're talking about power. Where does your power come from? Do you have a prayer life? And then I think the final thing we talk about is reward.
That's the thing.
Rewards for
1, 2, 3, 4. You get done with that. That reward is there. You're doing it for a reason. Don't ever think that you're doing something for, and that's okay. God wants you to know that you're doing something for a reason.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? God created everything for a reason.
yeah.
He doesn't put ideas in our minds.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you close it off with a thought. So think about an impacting thought you want to leave the people that are watching our podcast, our very first podcast. And here's what I want to say: Ben and I, you're going to see us regularly. We're going to do a regular podcast. We team up with a conference to men. If you'd like to bring it to your organization, to your school, to your business, to your church, we would love to have you come. It's really a plug and play.
We teach those 5 principles.
We teach those 5 principles. We challenge men to become men. We got the Warrior Way hat, okay, the Warrior Way shirt. We got the
On the way.
promotional material. All you have to do is contact us, and you can contact us at richclayministries.com. richclayministries.com. Click on the Warrior Way link, and it gives you all the information. So leave us, bro, with a parting word from what God has meant in your life, the warrior that He's calling out in you, and your vision and what you would like to see happen in this world today among men.
You just hit it. The word perseverance has gone away in our society. We've gone from think about it, 100 years. 100 years ago, people were still, there were still horses riding around. You had to figure out a way to get things done. I've seen it in the schools. I've seen it everywhere. The word persevere has kind of like dissolved and gone away because everything's given as opposed to everything tried for. And I don't even want to say earned. You know what I mean? God's gonna give you what he has planned for you. You go out there and get it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Embrace the chance to persevere, to get through something on your own.
Yeah.
And that's what this Warrior Way, the Warrior Way conference.
That's part of the reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when we talk to a Navy SEAL, the reward is I made it through.
Yeah.
I made it through.
Can I make it 5 more seconds?
Yes.
Can I make it 5 more seconds? Yes, you can.
That's what they asked.
Yes, you can.
And so I want to say this is Ben Marten. He's my partner. I'm Rich Clay. I'm a pastor, leadership coach, and now a podcaster.
Hey.
Ben is an actor, a dad, a father, an entrepreneur, and we are just committed to one thing, and that is your success and for you to become the warrior God's called you to be. And we teach you the Warrior Way in our conferences, in our podcasts, and in everything that we do. So God bless you, and thank you for joining us. We can't wait for you to see our next podcast.
Hey, congratulations, you finished the episode. But for real though, thank you so much for joining us and hearing the message of the Warrior Way told through our everyday warrior. Please like, comment, share, and review this episode. Every single interaction helps us get that beautiful Warrior Way message out there. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us build up men, one everyday warrior at a time. God bless.